Well, hello, everybody. It is July 29th, 2025. It's Joe from the Strange Voyage Files, and I am going to show you everything that I have, minus shirts. That's just too much of a pain in the butt. Of Ozzy. Everything that I have of Ozzy. Now, some stuff is kind of still in boxes that, we moved into this house about 5 or so years ago. It's still, and I'm not going to start tearing through stuff, but I do have at least pictures of it. Some stuff is hung up on my wall downstairs in my room, my TV room. So I took pictures of it. I'll go over that stuff first, and I'll put those pictures up, and then I'll go through the physical stuff and like all the physical media and whatnot that I have. So the first couple things that I have are the VHS videos of the from the No Rest for the Wicked, the what the heck was this thing called? Wicked videos. Yeah, and this had like Miracle Man and Crazy Babies, and I think Breaking All the Rules. It was a VHS tape. I had that, or have that somewhere in a box. And then the other VHS is that Don't Blame Me, which was like a minor little documentary, I think with some music videos, and that was on VHS. The other thing that I have, again, somewhere in a box is there was this, I don't know, 16-inch or so tall, and I'll put pictures up as I'm talking about this stuff, Blizzard of Oz doll, and I have that forever. Looked around for it. There's no way I got rid of it. There's no way I got rid of that thing. But that's got to be in a box somewhere. I have two copies of the Mr. Crowley Live. You'll see one with the albums, but one is also in a frame. You'll see it's my background, kind of, and up on the wall. I also have a framed small poster of the Blizzard of Oz UK tour, the Blizzard of Oz band UK tour, with Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake, the lucky people that saw that tour. And then the only thing that I have that's signed from Ozzy was that commemorative plate that they did probably early 2000s, and that's up on a wall. The Blizzard tour poster, and the plate I was not going to take down. The plate especially, because knowing my luck, I would take it down to show you guys, try to put it back on the hook, not have it on the hook right, it would fall and break. So that's up on a wall, it's secure. And I'll put a picture up of it. But that is the only thing I have signed of Ozzy. Years ago at Rolling Stone Records in Norridge, Illinois, I talk about Rolling Stones all the time. He was there doing signings, but it was so insane. I remember it was on the news. The line was so far, and I don't think it was guaranteed every signature. So if you were far back, and I don't think you could line up before a certain time, and if you tried to, the cops, threatened arrest and what. So it was just not. If I was 16 years old, I would have done it, but I was probably in my 30s, early 30s or whatnot. It was just not something I was going to do. So I do treasure that plate. That's the only thing I have that's signed of Ozzy. So those are the things I'm going to show you pictures of. Here's kind of the stuff that's not music, and this one's very interesting. I think rare. I have 2 bottles left of this, and this is this Solar Red Ozzy wine from what is this? This is Moonstock 2017 when he did that Bark at the Moon tour, or not tour, but that little concert. I think he did 3 or 4 songs about Bark at the Moon when during the eclipse down, and I'm in Chicago area. And this was downstate Illinois, so they did this this wine to go along with it, with a winery that was down there. Now you can still find, there is a collector's edition of this bottle of wine in a coffin, signed, and the whole thing. None of this is signed. I have 2 bottles left of this. I got I had ordered years ago. I had ordered a 6 case, whatever it may be. Not a wine guy. We did drink 2 bottles. I don't like wine, so I wasn't too impressed by it. That's not to say it isn't a good wine. I just don't like wine. And then gave 2 bottles away to friends, and then kept 2 bottles. So I have 2 bottles that are sealed and never opened. This one and another one. The next thing that I'm going to show you is I have 3 books, and now this isn't an Ozzy book, but it's it's Bob Daisley, and talks a lot about Ozzy. Talks a lot about those Ozzy years. especially, you know, the Ozzy years that a lot of people consider to be the best of the best of the best years. So it's really kind of a really an important book. So I did get that. Again, it's not an Ozzy book, but it does focus on Bob's whole career, but most of the people kind of started, and this is what I did, and even though I think he says it in the beginning, don't just do this, but I think it's what everyone does. They started Rainbow and then go through to, where he's Rainbow, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, and then that's kind of it. And I have this one, the I Am Ozzy book, his biography. From what he could remember, whatnot. This one I love a lot more. This one I think is 1,000 times better. Diary of a Madman. This one came out. There's got to be a year somewhere around here. I mean, I had this thing. Come on, where's the year? 1985. So they're making, because this book ends where they're making Ultimate Sin. And I used to read this book. I got this probably around 87, and I would read this book over and over and over again. And this is where I found out that a certain song that I had never, You Looking at Me, Looking at You, existed. And spent a couple decades trying to find that song because you couldn't get it as a single. By 86, 87, there's no way to get that as a single. Even in used record shops, I couldn't find it anywhere. A buddy of mine had one of the bootleg concerts of that UK Blizzard tour, and they played it there. So I did, I made a copy of that. So I had You Looking at Me for years and years as this horrible live bootleg, and of course we all have it on YouTube. This is long before YouTube. Finally, LimeWire comes along, and it's on LimeWire, so I get the real copy on LimeWire, and then I do get a better copy, which I'll get into. Now getting into the actual music. The single, still his biggest single, the Close My Eyes Forever with Lita Ford. This was a big song. Kind of couldn't go anywhere without hearing this song when it came out. Three greatest hits. First one is probably the most common, but sacrilege. At least this version is, because this is the horrendous version where they took... It's okay, baby. Where they took Bob and Lee off the recordings. There is a now the first version, I believe, still has Bob and Lee, but then of course, Sharon re-releases it with Bob and Lee off. That's sadly the version I have. Best of Oz. This was a Japanese. This was an import. This was really cool. Japan, man, especially, I don't know if it's still the same now, but Japanese. And then you had this insert. It's really cool. You had lyrics now I'll just show you kind of this, in Japanese on one side and English on the other. Japan got some really, really cool stuff. And there was a logic. They had bonus tracks and whatnot. And I forgot, I watched a video. I specifically went to look for a video, and it was something like, it was cheaper to buy imports in Japan, like the American stuff, than it was to buy the Japanese version. So that's why they would give bonus tracks on the Japanese versions. I think that's how it went. Then there was this one. This is the 10 Commandments CD. Another greatest hits. And a lot of these, both these Best of Oz and 10 Commandments, are going to have a lot of the same stuff on them. Obviously, Crazy Train's on both of them. Bark at the Moon's on both of them. It's weird. It says Secret Loser, which is an awesome deep track. Does it both have Ultimate Sin? No. Yeah, so they really, actually, I'm wrong. They kind of don't have a lot of the same songs. They're really, really good, though. Both of these were awesome. Loved both of these. Had them when I originally had my CD collection. Sold my CD collection because I got sick of moving it. And I had digitized everything, and then I started rebuying all my CDs. All right, we got Randy in the background. She's going to help me with stuff. My little Randy bear. Will you please get me Blizzard of Oz? All right. So now I'm going through the albums in chronological order and the versions that I have. And of course, the first one is Blizzard of Oz, my favorite. I didn't plan on it, but I did a ranking video. I figured I had all the albums, so this ended up this has always been my favorite album. And again, between this and Diary, you know. But they're both perfect albums. But this one, I just a hair more. This is the original CD that came out. So I think this is the before they started remastering stuff. These albums, especially the Bob Daisley albums, I have more than one copy. So here's another copy of the exact same thing. The kids think I'm nuts. I don't care. Now this is the 2011 remaster with You Looking at Me on it. And that D, or the Randy Rhoads, which is D. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not D. It's a Randy Rhoads solo and the Goodbye to Romance with just vocal and guitars. But this is the one. This is the remake. This is the re-release with Bob and Lee. I have the digital copies of Blizzard and Diary, the Sacrilege copies. But I do not have the physical media copies of those. And again, a second copy of the 2011 remix. I do not have that garbage Sacrilege without Bob and Lee. Great single. Again, I have one of these framed up on my wall, but the Mr. Crowley with God, You Said It All. Which I don't even know if that's gotten a proper release ever, and I wonder if that's just because it has something to do with not wanting to pay Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake Bob Daisley and then Lee Kerslake's estate's royalties. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised with Sharon. The American version of Blizzard of Oz and the insert. I actually should have waited for the other version because there's something cool with the lyrics and whatnot. But this is the American version, first pressing of Blizzard of Oz. Now this is special to me because same album, but this is from Rolling Stones Records. I did not buy my first Blizzard of Oz album from Rolling Stones. I got it from a place called Musicland, and I always wanted to have a Blizzard of Oz from Rolling Stones, which eventually I got another one too. But I got this at a place called Record Wonderland in Roselle, Illinois. Shout out to them. They're awesome. But whoever sold it to them got this, and it was probably in Rolling Stones' the back wall, the cheap albums, and this was probably cheap at the time with the Rolling Stones stickers. So when I saw this at Record Wonderland, Blizzard of Oz, my favorite album from the store that I bought almost all my albums from growing up, there's no way I wasn't going to get it. Blizzard of Oz picture disc. Pretty cool. This was released a few years ago. Now, this was the first Blizzard of Oz album I got. But this was not the first release because it didn't have the actual insert. It just had the white blank insert, because I'm sure it was cheaper to do that instead of printing. And Ozzy, Sharon needed money, Ozzy, and it's probably, if we spend less money on the albums, Ozzy, but still charge the same, that's more money for us, Ozzy. Money, 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 Ozzy. So, as you'll see, several albums, as after the first pressings, they didn't have that. Two of my Holy Grail items in my collection. Yeah, it's Blizzard of Oz again, but if you see the back, this is a first pressing Blizzard of Oz from the UK. This I just got this a couple months ago on eBay, and yeah, I wanted the actual UK version of this. So I have the American and the UK versions, Blizzard of Oz. This is probably the Holy Grail of Holy Grails for me. The Crazy Train single, Blizzard of Oz, where it really was a band before they changed the logo. With You Looking at Me, Looking at You. I've wanted this ever since I knew that song existed. Absolutely love it. I hate the lighting in here. I'm not a professional YouTuber, so I'm not going to go buy special lights. So, yeah, several copies of Blizzard of Oz. I don't care. My kids think I'm nuts. Saying, "Why do you need so many copies?" Randy, do you think I'm crazy for having all the copies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. All right, now the next one's obviously Diary of a Madman. All right, and now Diary of a Madman again. The original CD that I believe would have come from the original album would have been used from the original album. Why would you only buy one copy? Gotta have two. And then same thing, the 2011 remaster of Diary of a Madman with Lee and Bob back on the album. Boy, and they sure better not have been one of Sharon's tricks, and you can't just have one. My original version that I bought of, actually no, my buddy bought this for me for my birthday. Diary of a Madman, and again, just a white insert. Nothing special with that at all. Then the Diary of a Madman picture disc came out with that Blizzard of Oz picture disc. And, yes, as I continued my trend, this is the UK version, original first pressing. Now this one, and I didn't pull out the Blizzard of Oz UK one because it was just the same insert. And the guy I bought this from, it was very nice. Put this in a nice sleeve. But this does have the insert, the original insert, and then with the lyrics and the runes. And of course, has Rudy and Tommy on there as if they were on the album. And I will never say a bad word about either one of them because they are both class acts. Rudy and Tommy have always been nothing but class acts and have never taken credit, have never pretended to be the musicians on these albums. Oh, come on. Sorry, guys. There we go. Just have always been absolutely phenomenal. In fact, there's a very famous picture of Ozzy and it's Rudy's in there too, getting the Platinum Award for Blizzard of Oz, and they gave Rudy one. I mean, Sharon just kind of wanted everybody, even with Blizzard, they wanted to erase Lee and Bob because that original picture in the UK one has the band, and then the rest of them is a live version where you can't even see Lee and you can barely make out Bob. And Rudy's holding the award up, and he's just got this look on his face like, "What are you doing? Why are you making me do this?" But again, Rudy and Tommy have always been stand-up guys. So that is Diary of a Madman. The next one's Bark at the Moon. Okay, Bark at the Moon. How do you not have Bark at the Moon without having the Bark at the Moon lunchbox? Now this one, sadly, no thermos. I don't know if they ever came with thermoses or not. This was a novelty, after the fact. Ex-girlfriend got me that one, so. Bootleg of Bark at the Moon in Salt Lake City in 3/18/84. And I think there are other bootlegs, and I've seen, because I thought there was this is a Pro Shot. I thought there was another Pro Shot with So Tired. This one does not have So Tired on it. I could be wrong, but I thought there was another Pro Shot with So Tired. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Yeah, that may be a full set for him at the time. I don't know, but yeah, fun little DVD. The singles, these were Bark at the Moon, but the reason I got this single was for the B-side. Yeah, let me flip it over. I'll just do it that way. Spiders. And if you were in the UK, the B-side would have been Slow Down. And then the Bark at the Moon single. Again, I looked for these singles with One Up the B-side. I got these off eBay a few years ago, so they had been released, but it was hard to find those singles. After one of the things, and I got why the original Crazy Train wasn't readily available, but when I got into Ozzy, it was while Ultimate Sin was out, and why they stopped selling. I mean, maybe the single just stopped, but you look at other bands, and prior singles were readily available. From years. You couldn't find once a new album came out, it was like Sharon stopped the old singles. And I don't know why with Bark at the Moon, because they incorrectly credited everything to Ozzy, which, was a lie. But, okay, then the Bark at the Moon CD, the original. You guys know what's coming next. Can't buy one without having another. Then this isn't the 2000. No, this is 2002. Now this would have come out with those blasphemous Blizzard and Diary, but there's really nothing that. This was all credited to Ozzy. So, and this was cool because it had spiders and One Up the B-side on it. And this is I believe it's a remix, reissue. I don't know, remaster. Of that one. Then this is cool. The UK version, blue. I love that it's a different color of Bark at the Moon. And I believe this is the original that would have come out. I always thought it was cool that and the other big thing on this, instead, Center of Eternity is called Forever, but we'll see that in a couple seconds. Bark at the Moon, my version that I got. This was the first Ozzy album I ever got. My buddy who got me into metal was Bark at the Moon was his favorite. So, and then there was no inner sleeve, just this, just the white blank. To save from to save on ink and whatnot. Ozzy, we can save money. Ozzy. So there's that one. Then this just came out 2 years ago. This Bark at the Moon 40th anniversary edition, and this is it came with a poster. So the girl told me before I should hang up in the bedroom, and this does have the actual inner sleeve. Now this was with the CD. I didn't pull it out on the American versions, but this was a fold out on the CD that and I love that they have Don Airey in the picture. I love that they acknowledge that he was part of the band. And this is also, it's a different color, isn't it? This is blue. The only thing I don't get, I mean, there was nothing. I guess there were no extra tracks because they did record, 2 songs for B-sides, but really found it odd. There was nothing special about this 40th anniversary. And again, it made no sense because they didn't have to pay anybody. There's no royalty problems with Bark at the Moon because everybody, Jake and Bob, signed their royalties away. So if there was any Ozzy album that I thought would really be full of treats, it would have been this. We don't even get One Up the B-side and spiders on this. Whatever, it is what it is. And then I do have the UK version of Bark at the Moon, and again, awesome that come on. Forever instead of Center of Eternity. And I'm not going to pull the inner out because it just has the same thing that you just saw. So that is all the Bark at the Moon stuff. Really, really great. And we will now move on to Ultimate Sin. All right, Ultimate Sin is next. The Ultimate Ozzy VHS, man, this was an MTV concert, they released, and I wore the tape out of this. In fact, played it so much that the sticker fell off. I would play it, drove my mother nuts. I mean, Ultimate Sin album, not just my mother, but my parents. And then I just got this. It's just the DVD version, same thing, but again, this was Pro Shot, so MTV concert, so really really cool. Ultimate Sin, the CD, the original. Now this one, I'll show you. There is a remaster or I think remaster. It wasn't remixed. Version of this, but in the 90s, and I'll show you to you in a second. But it doesn't. There's no 2000. Like there's no 2002, 2011 remix because Sharon didn't want to pay Phil Soussan for Shot in the Dark, and I guess Phil really stuck to his guns with. And Ozzy says this is just not an album he likes, and blah blah blah. And, very successful album. Shot in the Dark is one of his biggest hits, and again, why have one? Should have two. He doesn't have good feelings of this album because he did say working with Ron Nevison, who was a hit maker at the time, was like working with Darth Vader. It was not a positive experience for him. So, I mean, I get it, but I don't buy that. No, we didn't redo the album because I don't like it. He didn't redo the album because you don't want to pay Phil his royalties. And then this was what was the year? 95. This was the remaster from 95. There were all these remasters. Speaking of which, I forgot one. And then this was when I got into Ozzy. This album was out. This was his current album at the time. And great inner. I love the inner sleeve of this album. Really, really cool. You can see. Look at falling apart. That was loved. I played this album so much. Wasn't even funny how much I played this album. It took me a while to really appreciate Blizzard and Diary. I liked them, don't get me wrong. But, when you're first getting into metal, it's like you're going from like the pop stuff, and I liked what my older cousins liked, which was like Rick Springfield and stuff, and what was on the radio, Michael Jackson and the Ghostbusters song. So you're gonna gravitate more towards the radio friendly albums, and this was it. And then this is my UK version. I'm not gonna pull it out because it's the same inner sleeve. It's just an Epic label. But yeah, I have a little UK version of this as well. You see, I have a trend of doing this, and then I forgot one if I'm going in chronological order. So, all right, we will come back with Speak of the Devil. And Randy's my little helper. I got all this stuff organized on the bed behind me, and little Randy's on her phone playing with, being my little helper, grabbing stuff. Yes, I totally forgot about Speak of the Devil. It's terrible. Great album. Introduced me to songs like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and Never Say Die, which I knew Sabbath Bloody Sabbath existed, but I didn't even know, at the time I didn't know Never Say Die existed. This was an album, again, as most of us did, would listen to quite a bit. And then this is the album that they shot out because Jet Records, Sharon's father, she can't get along with anybody. They had a 3-album deal, and they said, let's just do a live album of Sabbath stuff. But they also did this because Live Evil from Sabbath was going to come out, and they wanted to kind of stick it to Sabbath too. Now, of course, in the UK and I believe in the rest of Europe, it's Talk of the Devil. I did look on eBay to get that version, and it's crazy expensive. So at some point I'll get it, but it's not a big priority. Then the was it again 95 remaster of Speak of the Devil, and I did have the original on CD, and it omitted I don't know what song. I don't remember what song it omitted. Sweet Leaf, maybe? Because they didn't have the technology to fit it all on. But here it is. This is Speak of the Devil. Okay, so we did that now. Now we're on to No Rest for the Wicked. All right. No Rest for the Wicked is up. This, even though it looks like Speak of the Devil, irony that I had that nest. I had that before. This is that Philadelphia concert. Again, this was on MTV. Pro Shot. We've all seen it. Great concert. This really was. This is a great lineup, man. Songs. Tattoo Dancer. I mean, that he put some of these songs, so many of these songs in this. Bloodbath in Paradise, Miracle Man. Great songs. Great songs off a great album. And, you know, our intro to Zach. So, Pro Shot, bootleg. While we're on the concerts of this was my actual first concert ever. This was the No Rest for the Wicked concert in Chicago, Rosemont Horizon. And I wrote in the right date because they had the wrong date, December 17th, 1988. My very first concert ever. I found this just Googling, and I found a website. I can't remember the name of it. I have it saved in my favorites where they have just a ton of bootlegs. And great quality, too. It's definitely off the soundboard. Great quality. CD, No Rest for the Wicked. Unbelievable album. A lot of people left Ozzy after Ultimate Sin because they thought it was too poppy, too radio friendly. And again, can't just have one copy. And so he comes back with No Rest for the Wicked. And I don't think it got too many fans, you know, a lot of those fans back, but it is regarded as an absolute beloved album. Then was it 2002? Yeah, this is the 2002 remix with or reissue, whatever the heck it is, with the Liar on it and Miracle Man Live. Liar is a good song. The tour lineup with Geezer. Geezer comes back, which was awesome seeing him. Let's see. What do I got here? Here's my this was the first new release Ozzy album I ever got. So, very special album to me, and this is it right here. Of course, and this aggravates the hell out of me, but they ignore Bob Daisley, no picture of Bob Daisley. And that was one of the first things I thought when I got this album and I opened it up and I looked at it. I'm like, wait, where's Bob Daisley? I thought, because I don't think we knew at the time when this came out that Geezer was back. We may have, but once again, Sharon and her whatever. Same album, but this is obviously a lot of people broke up the See You on the Other Side box set and sold these albums. And I bought this one. I bought this individually. I did not buy the See You on the Other Side box set because I didn't want to pay $600. This one wasn't bad. I think this was like $80. I mean, still a lot of money, but because this was my first album, I wanted to get that version as well, so I bought that. And of course, gotta have the UK version. So this is the UK version of No Rest for the Wicked. And then this is cool. This is the Miracle Man picture disc. And I believe I'm not going to take the poster out, but I believe it's poster. And this has the Liar on it. And to me, the song hasn't aged well as far as liking it. I loved it when it first came out. It's still good, but I don't like it as much as I did when it first came out. So, a lot of stuff from No Rest for the Wicked. Love that album. Absolutely, absolutely love that album. Now, time to move on to No More Tears. All right, so now it's time to move on to No More Tears. And no, it's not. Darn it. Well, I'll do it next. Man. I'm thinking I am so stuck with chronological that I know I skipped over Tribute. I'll do it next. No More Tears CD. Now, I got this as a CD, and this is the original CD. And you're going to see in a second. I don't know if Rolling, because I would have gotten it at Rolling Stones, if this was released in the U.S. as an LP or not. I'm not sure. I don't want to say it wasn't and be wrong, but I got it as a CD, and I know what I have as an import. But I got I'll talk about it in a second. Again, I always have 2 copies of the Bob Daisley stuff. And then those are both the originals. Then this is that 2002 remix of the album. Again, Sharon and her taking Bob Daisley out and putting Mike Inez. Can't stand the guy. Not even going to argue with anybody about it. Absolutely cannot stand the guy. In there. And has Don't Blame Me and Party with the Animals. I did have the CD singles of, I believe it was No More Tears and Mom, I'm Coming Home, that had those songs on them. So I did have that. But again, when I sold my CD collection, they went bye-bye. Now, this is the one I bought back then. And again, Michael Inez and he only plays on No More Tears. Musical inspiration by Michael Inez. Get them, please. Now, the reason I believe this may have only been released, and I will tell you one thing about the album covers, they're not as thick as they are in the U.S. That it's not CBS, it's an Epic label. And the UK, the European and UK versions are all Epic labels. They're in the US ones are, well, the first two, and then Speak of the Devil, are Jet. And then the other ones are CBS. So I think this was an import. I know I got it at Hip Cat Records, another great record store that's, I don't even know what town they're in but they're in a suburb of Illinois. I don't know if it was ever released as an album in the U.S. Could be wrong. Don't know. This was a record store day version of it, the picture disc. And I did not get this on Record Store Day 2021. This was at Rolling Stones, and I just got it. This is an original, that I got, and it says import for $10.99. God, I wonder how much it would have been now. This is the No More Tears. And yeah, Party with the Animals is on this one. And great picture disc. Really, really cool picture disc. You got that, and then you got this on the back. I may put this up on the wall. I get another frame and throw this one up on the wall. So that is No More Tears. All right. Yeah, I know I skipped over Horrible, the Randy Rhoads tribute album, because I'm just thinking of this is the original CD. Just thinking of the studio albums. Now, I will say those are the only two non-digital. I have the digital, like Live at Budokan and Live and Loud. Years ago, I had the Live and Loud CD. I don't have it anymore. This is the version, the 2002 version. But these are the only the Speak of the Devil and Tribute are the only two physical live albums I have. So, and then this, God, I used to listen to this over and over. Of course, that's who my baby Randy is named after. So many great pictures. Come on. So many great pictures of Randy, and he has his letters from Ozzy. And of course, you just gotta wonder, did he really write them? He may have said them. I have a feeling he probably dictated them, and but I don't know. The one is supposed to be in his handwriting, so. Now I will go to my grave because saying that God, tribute merchandise available. Could have written and gotten shirts and stuff. What could you have gotten? Shirt, poster, photo book, classic memorabilia, the 81 and 84 tour books. Wow, I wish I would have known. I would have bought those. Orders must be received by 12/31/87. Goodbye to Romance, No Bone movies are from that Blizzard UK tour. And they're decent quality. I know Sharon has those. I know they're mastered. And I know there's video. Bob has said there's no video. I know everybody says there's no video. Everyone's going to say, Joe, no, there's not. They've all said it. I don't care. Sharon is very devious. I believe there is video. I pray to God one day we see it. Okay, so that's tribute. All right, I know we kind of skipped around out of order because I forgot the 2 live albums I have, but all right, next one, my least favorite Ozzy album. Yes, I know there's another version. I know there's another producer. There's other songs. Blah 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 blah. Don't care. Hate this album. Hate this album. Hate the album cover. Perry Mason is one of the best. God, stupid. Perry Mason is one of the best songs he's ever done. But I hate this album. Now, I do have 2 of them because somebody on eBay had a lot of albums from this one. So it would have been this. I think it was that Ultimate Sin remaster, and that's why I got it. Another Down to Earth, Black Rain, and I think it was that Black Rain, Scream, something like that. It was like for $13, something goofy like that. So there's no way I was passing on that. So yes, I have 2 of these albums. Now I do have this, which was with the, and again, I'll talk about what I do have. The other one I have from the box set. This is the original import I got when the album came out, and the sticker for $12.98. I'll show you this. It says out of print, but first issue, very good plus, original gold winged A logo on cover. I don't know what that means. Maybe something I'm missing. So, but this is a UK import. This one was never released in the US. This was never released in the US. And I got this. I got one of these protective things for this album because it is very valuable, but there's no inner sleeve. What actually came with the album was just a white. There was no lyrics or anything like that for this album. So, but this one is quite valuable. I don't ever intend on selling it or parting with it, but for my children, this would probably, I think it goes for like $600 or so. Let's see, since we have it, what was the inner sleeve of this on the CD? God. Lyrics and whatnot. And then just kind of a just more hodgepodge of Ozzy. And this is, Bob Daisley's gone. Zach is on this. Geezer's on this album. But this really is kind of where they solidify that, this is Ozzy. This is, we're done trying to share any kind of copyright or anything with anyone else. This is Ozzy's the central focus, and that's that. Again, this album starts off with Steve Vai. Bob Daisley does start in the very early stages with this, and it all falls apart. This is the remix. Sorry, this is the remix. This is the 2002 remix. This is the original. So, yeah, I can't stand this album. Never listen to that album. Perry Mason, one of his best songs ever. See You on the Other Side, and what's the other one? I Just Want You Are okay. The rest of the album is so bad. Oh God, absolutely can't stand it. I know people love it. God bless, but all right. So his next one is Down to Earth. It's okay. There's the CD of it. I'll show the inner sleeve of the CD. And then here's, I believe they are both the same album. I don't think we ever really got to a remix. I have 2 of this. Again, I got it, and then this was part of that lot of CDs I got. So, you got a bunch of CDs, even if they're crappy Ozzy CDs, you're still going to buy them. And to be honest with you, I would have to think, Zach is, Zach's not. I gotta look at the liner notes, man. God, I mean, this really gets to a point where it's. Is it Joe Holmes on this one? Just. So it is Ozzy, Zach, Robert Trujillo, and Mike Bourdin. Okay, but I don't think Zach writes on this album. And then if I remember correctly, this is the one I think where Joe Holmes tours? No, because Joe Holmes is on Osmosis. No, he's not. Yeah. I don't. It gets crazy. It gets crazy. I don't know. Put it in the comments. I can't keep up with it. But here's another one, man. Import. I got this when it came out. I would go to Hip Cat Records because I knew Hip Cat Records had it. And I think I even called them. They said we have a copy. And I was like, dude, please save it for me. I'm on my way. And if I remember correctly, the guy was like, I ain't saving anything, man. If somebody comes in and wants it, I'm selling it. But $17.99. Could you imagine today? This does have an inner sleeve. Okay, that's cool. So it does have this inner sleeve. And then it's going to be an Epic label. I have not pulled this out since in forever. This is not from the See You on the Other Side box set. I got this. Yeah, it's Epic. It's not yeah. I don't even know. This may never have been played. Really throw that out there because I always had it on CD. I just got this for the sake of having the vinyl. Because I always wanted the vinyl for Ozzy. Not for every band. But I did want it as long as I could for Ozzy. Because I was, such a devotee of Ozzy. So this is not from the... Hey, can you look at the S? It's this is not from the See You on this Other Side box set. Got the hype sticker on it. It's in great condition. It's mint condition actually. So another one, girls. And Daddy not around. That one's gonna again. I think that goes for like $400 or $500. So. All right, Down to Earth, and then now we got to think of what's Black Rain is next. All right, the next one, another album I'm not really all that fond of. Black Rain, and there was this is the one with no, this is the original. Well, originally it came in a digipack with it was a brown ugly cover. Just a little cheap digipack, but this was not one that I really cared for. And get the lyrics on one side. This is where Ozzy says that, and I agree with him. What Zach is bringing to him sounded a lot like Black Label, and I believe it was. And it just did not work, this album. It really didn't go anywhere at all. Now this is okay. Then of course Sharon starts doing this tour edition where she would release the same album but then with 3 extra songs. And I remember one of these was like an iTunes bonus, the other ones were Japanese. But the song Nightmare is the standout track to me off this album. Black Rain, then I have not even opened this. You can see I got it from Rolling Stones. Does it say Rolling Stones on there? No, just sale price. But I did get this album. Have not even opened it yet. Don't know if I have. I don't really care to play this one. I'm a completist. I wanted to have all the Ozzy vinyl. So when I saw this at Rolling Stones, there was no way I was not going to get this album. So, but not one that I ever visit at all. It's just, I don't think it's a good album at all. All right. So now the next one is the last great Ozzy album, in my opinion. Scream. This one kind of came out of nowhere, and I think it took people a while to really appreciate it. But I know the single "Let Me Hear You Scream" was a big hit. Here is this was the original version, but it doesn't. It is, but it isn't, because it doesn't have the Ozzy logo on front. But this is it. But I don't know, a variation of the original version. Again, I got this off eBay. So again, one I had, and then what is this? This is just, oh, these are the lyrics. One I had, but then when I sold all my CDs, because man, was it a pain. And I never thought I'd buy them again. I was like, why? Well, why am I gonna? What am I gonna want CDs for? I kept all my albums. Those are too sentimental. But I was like, the CDs I can get rid of. Have them on digital. But I rebought them because with my daughters, and then certain bands I wanted to have everything again. So and here we go. This is the tour edition, and each country had a different flag. Obviously, this is the U.S. one, and again, Sharon did the same thing. Extra songs, extra unreleased songs, not just the live stuff. One More Time, which is an extra song, should have taken off Latimer's Mercy and put One More Time on there. But this album is unbelievably awesome. Absolutely love this album. Latimer's Mercy sucks. I Want It More is okay. Love You All is just kind of some goofy song, but this album all the way through is really, really good. Now, this is the album that makes me want to bash my head against the wall and really hate Sharon even more, but even though this was my own fault. I bought this probably March, whenever the See You on the Other Side 2 came out. Somebody had it, and I said, yes, I got to buy this because this is the only vinyl I do not have from Ozzy. And I did not think this was going to be the vinyl that was released next. I truly thought the next one was going to be Osmosis, because a lot of people love that album. I hate it, but a lot of people love it. So I paid like $200 for this. Now, the SKU are different. So I did buy this, and this is from that broken up See You on the Other Side set that somebody, and I bought the same guy that I bought from I bought the Norris for the Wicked one. Bought the Norris for the Wicked one probably like a month and a half later. It was kind of sitting there. And he gave me a deal on the Norris for the Wicked, so that was nice of him. And then this stupid thing comes out. For what, $39? So to get a different version, I got the one that's the Amazon exclusive aqua blue. But so now I have two versions of Scream. But the one is obviously going to be more rare. So, again, for my kids, because as much as I would like to say my kids are going to keep my collection, we know they're not. I didn't keep my dad's collection of stuff. Some stuff I did, of course, but so hopefully they'll know what's valuable to sell. All right, we're in the home stretch now. Now the last two most recent albums, and we'll start with Ordinary Man. Ordinary Man, now this is a special album to me, even though a lot of people don't like it and whatnot, and I don't think it's a great album, but this is the first new release that I got with my children, and we got this. We went to Rolling Stones Friday when it was released. I believe it was a Friday, and got it, and went home and listened to it, and Madison fell asleep, and Randy stayed awake. But this is a very special album. We all love the title track very much too. So there's that. The inner sleeve. I think it was just a black. Yeah, it was just a black vinyl. Not a bad album. Not a great album by any means, but yeah, Ordinary Man. Again, it's special because, and we bought them both at the same time, bought the CD and the album at the same time, same night. So first new Ozzy new release when my kids were born. So it is a special album to my family. All right, I want to give a thanks. Randy, you just want to stand up and wave real quick before we do patient number 9. Thank you to Randy for staying in here and getting me everything as I'm pausing the video and whatnot. The last album, patient number 9. Don't like this album at all. I love the title track. Absolutely love the title track. I think it's one of his best songs. But this album, no. And it's probably going to be the last solo album we have from him, unless he was recording. I guess he was recording some stuff. I don't, but he said he wanted to get people together to record another album, and then I always thought it was going to be a Black Sabbath album. So I don't know what we have and what we don't have. And I do have the live, or not the live, I have the vinyl version as well. But I don't know. I don't know what we have of. Here's the internet. You know, if there truly is anything, if we're gonna have, enough for another album, or if I don't know. Absolutely don't know. And the sad thing is, they said even with Ozzy's health, with how the Parkinson's had hit him in this horrible injury. And man, I mean, just think about the injuries this poor guy went through. I'll put this together after I'm off camera. The ATV accident, and then he falls at home at one point, and he says that the doctor, I believe from the injury of falling at home, the doctor screwed up, and then the Parkinson's, everything this poor man had to go through. But they said his voice was still great. And I mean, and here's the other, there's 2 versions of patient number 9. This one's not even open. But everything this poor man had to go through. God, and you read the special guest, Jeff Beck. I think this is the last thing Jeff Beck ever did. I don't know. I'm not a big Jeff Beck fan to know that, but Jeff Beck's gone. Taylor Hawkins is gone. Ozzy's gone. This says on black vinyl. I don't know. It's a shame because, you have these 2 songs, Degradation Rules, and what was the other one? No Escape From Now, which I just think are terrible, with Tony Iommi. I would have loved, which never would have happened, but I would have loved if they did something where Max Norman at least produced a couple of songs, because that man was gold. So, all right, that's my Ozzy stuff. It's I know I have a lot of doubles and whatnot. I don't care. Ozzy was always so important to me that I want to make sure that I have, especially those originals. I don't want to be stuck with a remaster. I don't want to be stuck with a new version. I want those originals. So I don't care that I have 3, 4 albums, the exact same thing. That's it. So, I hope you guys like this. I hope you enjoyed looking at my collection, and subscribe, and hit the little bell and all that stuff. And hopefully Madison will get like I said, it's the running joke. Yeah, Madison's going to get my X account going and my Instagram so I can do reels and whatever. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.